Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Biology. What's your BSA score? The Biology Skills Assessment is the only verified skills metric endorsed by the NAIA, NJCAA, and a growing number of NCAA coaches to discover and develop the best talent for your team. This 4-minute, 40-shot test can be taken free today on the Biology mobile app. Elevate your game. All right, you're able to see so many great leaders, be around them, especially with TABC. I mean, at those clinics alone, just the people that you have in the room with you and those meetings that you have, what's one quality you see in great leaders?
You know, obviously, ever since I received the email on those questions, I kind of just thought about it, and obviously, there's 1,000 things that we could say, right? Because that's what makes those people great leaders. But I think the one thing that I just kept referring to, and kind of the first thing that stuck to my mind, is the thing that I find in a great leader is the love and care that they have. I just think a great leader is a person that they love and care about everything that they have going on with them or about them. They love and care their job. They love and care the people that they're around every single day. They love and care the people that they get to work with and that they get to work on, our student athletes or even, like for my situation, your faculty members, your janitors, your trainer, I just think, they just love and care for people. And I think that's a huge attribute that, like I said, I mean, we could sit here and talk, for 30 minutes about 1,000 different things.
Sure.
But the thing that I just kept kind of replaying in my mind when I thought about these people that, my old high school coach or my old college coach, I just felt like it just all went back to just loving and caring. So
that's a good point. And I think so many of us, hopefully, whether it was high school or college, or even guys that maybe we worked for early on, we saw that example. I think there's a lot of players and coaches out there, though, that can also think of the wrong example of that, which is somebody that's disconnected, somebody that might have a lot of head knowledge, know the game, X's and O's, but doesn't necessarily connect with their players, show that level of care, that deep care. What are your thoughts on a coach that has all the knowledge, but players don't believe that they truly care about them?
Oh man, that's tough. You have that saying, like it's I do it too right now. I do it too, where we have all these great ideas because of the kids that we have, these great ideas. And I try them out right now in the preseason, but at the same time, somehow or some way, those kids make a connection of like, I don't know if he really feels that way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what makes it tough. Is that's if you're not, the X's and O's part, and I guess what I try to do is I try to tell my guys, and I think this is really the truth, is if you were to come and watch us, practice or play, like, I'm not sure you're actually going to steal something on the X's and O's side of it. I just don't. I joke with my guys all the time, like I'm not that smart. I'm not that. That's not what I enjoy doing. I don't enjoy sitting down and designing stuff and doing this, putting this person in this spot. And that's just not my style.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think some of those guys that are like that, I think it's hard to, like you said, to make that connection. And I think that's important. That's what I feel like the players nowadays, that's what they care about. That's what they look forward to, so.
Yeah, I think if they struggle to make that connection, if players don't truly believe that we care about them, you can get away with it for a certain amount of time. But then let's just say hypothetically in your season, bad things happen. Injuries, losses, the success that everybody thought was going to be there isn't there. It's not turning out that way. You better have the relationships to fall back on, or else I think that's when a team or a culture, an environment can really go south.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think I could tell from you, like the self-awareness that you have in who you are as a coach. I think TJ Rosine with PGC said that self-awareness is a superpower. Like the fact that you recognize in yourself that I'm not going to out X and O somebody, but I would imagine you have unique ways of getting your players to completely buy in and to play incredibly hard.
Yeah, and I mean that's it's even at this level. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. We have really great coaches that we get to compete against night in and night out, and there are some that are gonna X's and O's us to death on top of a great culture and a great program and a great team. That's when you know you're really in trouble when you get there. But when you got to play those teams, like man, guys, I'm sorry, our X's and O's is not going to work on this one. But hopefully we can make it up in other areas. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough deal.
Like you just nailed something though. I mean, maybe the teams that we're watching play later on in February and March are the ones that have the culture, have the X's and O's, both performing at a high level. In your opinion, when you're kind of starting off the season, which two of those layers are you focusing on a little bit more? Is there one over the other, culture versus X's and O's, or are you trying to move them up both at the same time?
I'm trying to. I'll start off mainly with the culture side of things. And then obviously when the competition, kind of changes over to the district level, we're competing at the district level. You got to have some type of X's and O's, especially with the guys that we play in our league, in our conference, or in our district to stay in the game. You have to. It's they're just too good, for you not to have that. So, but I definitely want to stress and preach, our style of play and what we want to accomplish offensively and defensively, and we can we can talk about that, but I want to definitely establish that first because I always do this too. The regular season, every game leading up into before our district ball game, I am 110% focused on us, our team, not necessarily anybody else. And I know and it sounds crazy, but we have some really good teams on our schedule, and I really need to be focused on them. But at the same time, they're going to have the players, and they're going to have kids. Every game we go into, there's going to be kids. There's going to be really good players. There's going to be really good coaches. And so I just stress and focus on trying to for us to improve. And then when the district competition and stuff rolls around, there's a lot more, obviously detail involved with scouting reports, and there's player personnel stuff on what we want to get accomplished, because hopefully by that time we got to have a good grasp of our team and what we feel like is going to help us. So,
Coach, I like that. I like the idea of acknowledging, even with your players, that there's a difference between what we're doing all the way up until district play, and then when that moment hits. I'm a huge fan of focusing on us, how we do things, how we're going to show up, way more than worrying about our opponent. And like you said, I think especially in that preseason or pre-district, how many coaches just get so deep into breaking down pre-game or post-game in the pre-district, when we really need to. I mean, how many of those in-depth scouting reports do you have in you before your players start to go, oh, another packet?
Absolutely.
I've heard this before. Even the good ones that are gonna yes sir, yes or no sir. I think there's only so many of those. So waiting till district to maybe have those in-depth scouting reports, and then before that, focusing on your culture, the way you do things offensively and defensively. That just makes a lot of sense to me, man.
We kind of just took that approach. I've just taken that approach of it, since I've been coaching. I think it's just, especially, I mean, one of the questions I think was about the social media deal, which we'll obviously advance to that.
Yep.
But I think everything now, this is my 16th year in coaching, and everything has obviously changed, has evolved. And you as a coach, you have to do the same. And so, these kids right now at school, in their classrooms, they're hardly doing pencil to paper stuff in the classroom. They're hardly doing writing down things and reading packets and so the best way for us right now to get information to those guys is a text message, is through the phone, right? And so that's a whole lot of the reason too why I do it, because like you said, I think it's if they're seeing it, and all you're doing is just flooding them with that information. What are we actually going to get anything accomplished? And we want to get something accomplished. So
that's a good point too, of evolving with the times. I don't know about you, but the 4-page scouting report that I used to get in high school or college, if I'm being honest, I didn't really read through all that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I skimmed it and I listened, and there's, that was last year. One of my assistant coaches brought me because he knows I take a Peeler, a Coach Peeler approach to scouting. I don't really go to many games. I'll get a little bit of film on them, but kind of like you said, it's way more about us. And even in district play, and maybe sometimes that's with your style of play and the simplicity that you have. But he handed me, because he knows I don't do much of those things, he handed me this like 6 or 7 page packet that the football coach did. And I'm looking through it, and I think I had a smirk on my face, because it's just like, man, it's great. It's a lot of work. I'm trying to think of like, what else could I do like with my time and for my players with that. And that's not a knock on anybody that's going to spend a lot of time on a scouting report. But like you said, is there a way that we can make it digital, that we can simplify it so that it's really like keep the main thing with our players and our coaching?
Even when we get to district, coach, our scout report in district, I try to do 1 page. It's a front and a back. That's it. It's just 1 page. It's a front and a back, and then all of our information that we want on there for our guys to know is on there. But I kind of went to that over the last couple of years too, is because I don't think flooding them with information is beneficial.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.